up. We have to stop this immediately.
There were so many Nazis who were like, we need to make sure the children get fed. Yeah, and again, it's like people like Eve are so upset because the world isn't done with it. Like the enablers, most of the media that enabled this.
People are very mad at me for not doing the accent that I normally do.
Was able to gain for a very long time. So there's this guy named, Joe Pagarulio. He's like some right-wing Twitter guy. Like,
I think so.
Kind of a lug. He has a lyric in this very cringe song he made about 9/11, which frankly I would play a couple seconds of.
Oh, this guy's like tweeted at me before.
Yeah,
but I don't know what it is.
He has a 9/11 song that is very, very, not that 9/11 is always funny, but this is definitely pretty funny. I
think he said his daughter watches me or something, and then he called me a cloud goblin.
Wait, so he Gavin Newsomed you?
Yeah,
Gavin Newsom to Charlie Kirk to you? Well, he has this line from his cringe 9/11 song. Somebody please put it in the chat, where he says, "When evil attacked freedom from the sky," and that's a great way to summarize how I was raised to believe terror worked. Was that? Here we go.
He made this song like unironically, not as a joke.
No, this is hold on.
The sun shined on the apple as folks got on their way. Was a gorgeous Tuesday morning, tons of dew that fateful day. The Monday rain subsided, leaving big white puffy clouds. The quiet serenity would soon give way as things got very loud.
Let's skip the chorus at least.
Freedom was attacked. Our whole
Freedom
way
itself
of life
was attacked.
Their sick minds
This
were
is Hank
packed
Pecker's campaign announcement.
with
Sound.
hatred
I love
and
this
with
song.
strife. Tuesday morning, change without warning. We're still mourning those we lost that day. 20 years went by, still we wonder why. Evil attacked freedom from the sky. Moms and dads and kids were set for another day.
I love that. That's fantastic.
You're not.
But yeah, it's propaganda to be like, oh, these guys just like hate us for our freedoms, which is ironic because like that was my, that was what provoked my response to Congressperson Dan Crenshaw at the time when I said my famous thing about America deserving something. I won't say what, but that was precisely what he was saying as well. He was like, oh yeah, what the fuck is this? Oh my God, I flew a plane. Not that I didn't do 9/11.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I didn't do 9/11, but I did fly a plane.
Awfully young to be flying that plane.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like when I was taught about Israel as a kid, it was really, I think the Israelism documentary said something about this. It was really supposed to be like Disneyland. And
yeah, I had Simone Zimmerman sitting right there where you're sitting.
You're raised to have this kind of parasocial relationship with it, like it's a celebrity. And you're supposed to think that like this state, like this country loves you back. And that visiting the country is like a giant set of arms, just like hugging you warmly and bringing you in and giving you a little kiss on the cheek and everything. But you don't get an understanding of like what Palestine is. You just hear that we have these really mean neighbors who hate us. I didn't know what the West Bank was. I actually said to my grandma, I was like, well, you know those, the illegal settlements in Golan Heights? And she goes, yeah, you have a cousin there. And I was like, oh, great. Thank you, Nanny. But you aren't raised to understand sort of anything about the Middle East. There's just us, and then there's them. You know, there's us in the Holy Land that loves us back, and then there's everybody else. You don't get a sense that there's different ethnic groups or that there's people who practice Islam very differently. It's just this kind of unilateral evil that attacks freedom from the sky. And it's a very hard thing to unlearn. And and that's why I'm very careful with the way that I talk about this all day on social media, but I try to manage the way I do it very closely because I know a lot of people who are very friendly towards Israel who follow me, and they see me as somebody who is rational and has.
Oh, you're cooked after coming on my stream, dude.
I've already been here.
I know, but that was before October 7. Post October 7, the very same institutions that have in the past given me credit for like consistently combating anti-Semitism online have now decided I am the #1 anti-Semite in the country.
Well, there's a clip right.
Jonathan Greenblatt said I'm worse than or it's the same degree as Kanye West.
I saw. But there's a clip of me pretty close to the top of my Instagram saying Alhamdulillah to Zoran. So I think I lost anybody who I'll lose from you. But I was just gonna say, like, I'm careful about what I say, although I say quite a lot of it, because there's certain things that people will hear. People who I think a lot of progressive people who are either sympathetic towards or completely supportive to the Palestinian liberation movement, I think a lot of them have given up hope on a lot of Zionists. And I think a lot of them do not believe in a lot of people's ability to change their perspective in a way that I just don't want to give up on. And I know a lot of people who are very Israel friendly, sympathetic, who follow me, and they find what's happening to be terrible and abhorrent, but they're scared to say anything about it. Because how do you get dinner with your family? I mean, there's a lot of people who love the state of Israel more than they love their family members, and they're willing to break off with their family because of this country.
You got a lot of people in this chat that are in that boat, and a lot of people that have come up to me at encampments that have talked about that as well. As far as like being a young Jew and then seeing the reality of what Zionism looked like and Zionism in practice, what that has looked like, and realizing that, and then having that conversation with their friends and family members, and then being completely outcast from all of the institutions that are supposed to create a sense of community, because every single one of these institutions has civic nationalism, like Zionism as this like Zionism as a substitute for the actual Jewish religion, and the promotion of Israel as like the primary focus.
Well, one of the other things you're taught is that Zionists means Jews, and then you look at the Pew Research, and most Zionists in the country are evangelical Christians.
Yeah,
and you're like, wait a second. Now there's a ton of people who say terrible things about Zionists, and what they really mean is the Jews. But a huge part of that is the fact that there's a lot of people who are investing a lot of time, resources, and anything they can into making sure that Jew and Zionist are inextricable from each other. The white supremacists want people to think that. The Zionists who are pro-Israel want you to think that. It's something that the white supremacists and a lot of Jewish people are able to kind of get along on.
I call it woke dual loyalty. Like what they say, like there's no difference between what Jake Tapper says and what like Nicholas Fuentes says, but Jake Tapper's like, it's a good thing. And Nicholas Fuentes is like, it's a bad thing. Where he will also be like, oh, of course, like when people say you mean Zionists, you're talking about all Jews, when you're like very clearly talking about like something that Israel is doing, whilst in the process of saying Zionism is not Judaism, and that anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism are two, and if they can have the capacity to merge by cynical actors. And they go, no, you're wrong. All Jews care about Israel. That's the only thing they care about. But the person saying that is like a person who's in support of Israel saying that. And it's no different than what they're hearing from Nicholas Fuentes.
And then you get someone like Fuentes or someone like Clandis Owens, and they hijack the suffering of Palestinian people as a Trojan horse to spread Jew hate. And it's so unbelievably disgusting. I think it might be one of the most disgusting things that happens in a situation like this, in terms of the way people talk about it, not in terms of who's murdering who, but like they tell stories about Palestinian suffering, and then they use that to spread Jew hatred. And you're like, okay, you are doing what so many people who are protesting and advocating are being accused of doing. And it's people like Fuentes and Clandis. Are they friends? Do they get along?
They did a thing recently, but she is a black woman, and I think Nick hates both black people and women. So it's like, it's almost like an allegiance. It's a strategic partnership that they have. Oh, they have the same ideology, make no mistake.
I mean, if she couldn't be friends with people who hate black people and women, I feel like she wouldn't have hung out with a lot of the people she's hung out with.
No, but I'm saying like it's more so like on Nick's end, where he's like, he doesn't want to be aligned with her because he hates black people and also women. So even if she is a white supremacist, doesn't matter. This is Joe Pags. Hasan the Hun, Cloud Goblin. I'm on 150 radio shows with 5 million listeners. Congrats on building your Twitch page. Why ban a guy asking logical, real questions? What on earth, man? I honestly invited you on my radio show. Twitch is a hobby for me. Wow. Hasan Piker is a cowardly lefty clown who only has a name because his uncle is Jank Uyghur. My daughter watches him and suggested I check him out. He's got a huge following, so he's doing something right. I did a pilot with Jank Uyghur at CNN some time ago. He yelled at me the whole time. It didn't go well. Winky face.
That winky face. Another example of, and we're not being derogatory here, gay. Is he still using his Twitter? Does he still
I don't know.
post?
I love like old school conservative guys though, because they just like they're in a unique place right now. Because I feel like old school conservatism is like endless and unlimited support to Israel, right? Like it's some of them do it because of evangelical Zionism, but others do it because it's like American foreign policy, neocon foreign policy. Like we have to do it. Some of them do it because they hate Muslims. But then you have this like new meta of populist isolationist, fake isolationist right wingers now that are at least in the audiences of these people, and many of them are also they hate Israel. They also cope and claim that like Israel is the reason for why our big, beautiful, bold, brave right wing politicians are actually defending Israel is because they're getting blackmailed. And not because they also like what Israel is doing and want Israel to continue doing what it's doing.
And also they derive a great amount of their support from the evangelical Christians who make up most Zionists.
Yeah. It's just cope. That's the other thing that pisses me off about people who are always like, no, you don't understand. Like my favorite right-wing politician is actually based and hates Jews, I promise, and hates Israel. So you can't say it because he's been blackmailed. And it's like, no, dude, he loves that shit. He does not give a about Palestinians, and he loves what Israel's doing. Anyway, that's what they're coping about with Trump too.
Do you see Trump saying that he thinks that Netanyahu's lying about starving people because he saw something on Fox News?
I did see that. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I think it's like the same as like the Brandonization.
No. I agree. It was more he saw it on Fox News that weirded me out. But maybe he was just let down by Bibi not crushing it with the Nelk boys.
Yeah, that I could see him responding to that negatively, but that was a major misstep. That was a major misstep by Israel in general, that they thought that like it was the secret of the Trump success was literally like going on podcasts and not who Trump is and not the failure that the Democratic Party represented at that point, and a multitude of different factors. So they thought that if they go on the Nelk Boys and like hit lung darts together or something, that like a bunch of MAGA youth would magically turn and be like, no, we love Israel now because Benjamin Netanyahu's so cool.
Well, yeah, that was what I said. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, he thinks that Trump's success came from the MAGA pod bros. I think Joe Rogan said he turned down having Bibi on, which is interesting to me because Joe Rogan has a pretty high tolerance for types of people he'd be willing to have on the show.
Yeah, I think he has a better understanding of like how negative a uncontested interview with Benjamin Netanyahu would look like. Like he understands how toxic Israel's brand is and how toxic Bibi is in general than the Nelk Boys did. That's what I think happened there.
Well, there you
have you seen this guy? Do you know Hen Mazig?
I've heard the name.
I hate this guy so much because like he looks like Bizarro me almost, like if I were evil. But yeah, he's a whisperer to the stars on the Middle East conflict. Many in Hollywood have struggled to navigate how to talk about their support for Israel on social media. Some of them have turned to Hen Mazig for advice. And he got this like New York Times profile piece on it. Founder of an organization created in 2019 to reach younger people who didn't trust traditional news media and instead found most of their information through influencers.
Wait, do we know the name of the organization? Because there's a chance it's one of the organizations that reached out to me after October 7th.
What is it called?
I would need to see the name of his org because I
Oh, some orgs reach out to you?
Oh, was I reached out to? Yeah.
Wait, what is how do you see the alt text on this? Oh, here. Puffy, starry-eyed profile mid-genocide of genocidal propagandist Hen Mazik, a whisper of the stars in the Middle East conflict. Many in Hollywood have struggled to navigate how to talk about their support for Israel on social media. Some of them have turned to Hen Mazik for advice. Pic of him looking like a weak 3D printer on the Fritz Hasan Piker knockoff, captioned, Hen Mazik is a founder of an organization. Wait, what's the name of the organization? Does anyone know?
Oh my God. Wait, I'm sorry. Is the Sam Piker knockoff thing in the article?
Eli said that.
Got it.
Eli is saying 3D printer knockoff. Hillel, Stand With Us, and Tel Aviv Institute.
No, I never heard
That's
from
the
them.
one. The Tel Aviv Institute is the one that he works on specifically. But yeah, Hillel,
What's that tweet he has?
Oh, this tweet. These kids are both suffering from illness, but you would never know that from how the media is telling their stories. This kind of journalism doesn't help Gazans, but it does get Jews killed. Truth is nothing to fear unless you're part of a movement based on lies. And this has been like the new meta. This has been the new meta for people who want to defend Israel, is like posting the photos of these like emaciated children and being like, you fool. What you forgot to mention is that Israel is not only starving healthy children, it's starving disabled children as well, which is so crazy because like that to me signals that every single person that's trying to do Hasbara in the West is so echo chambered that they don't understand how this looks like to like a normal person that's not getting pro-Israel propaganda beamed into their brain on a daily basis.
I follow a lot of Hasbara influencers. I watch a lot of their stuff, and there's a lot of despair right now in those circles because very, very dramatically over the past, let's say, even week or two, all of their allies are just gone, and they're posting more angrily, more MAGA, and
it makes sense. It makes sense to me. Like the way I've always analyzed Israeli politics is right wing. Like Israeli politics is right wing. It is designed, and I say this as someone who's like interviewed Ofer Kasif in the immediate aftermath, like right after October 7. And he is not exactly a very popular figure in the Knesset. You know what I mean? Like there are very few active anti-Zionist communist Israelis, and Israeli politics is understandably slanted to the far right because the entire national mythology is built around avoiding talking about this massive thing that is constantly happening that requires a steady flow of dehumanizing propaganda of the outgroup.
I think you can also just look at like the hardcore nationalism of it. Like hardcore nationalism is a very MAGA thing. And you also can see a lot of these influencers I follow have turned on just woke as a concept. Just all of woke. All of woke is bad because a lot of people who are more left wing are going to be pro-Palestine and everything. So they have, they say that they're as liberal as anybody in the room. I'm the most liberal person you'll ever meet. But no, it's all of woke is bad because of this thing that I don't agree. And again, I have to bring this up. I think a lot of these people are in a position where they actually know that what's happening is terrible and inhuman and wrong. I think a lot of these people recognize that somewhere inside their soul. They know that this is bad. They know that this is not okay. But it's so scary to accept that what you've been told your entire life has been a form of nationalist propaganda, especially when it's tied to your identity as somebody who's not just part of a religion, but an ethno-religion that's in your DNA.
Yeah.
So accepting as an adult that what you've been told since you were a small child, somebody said I spoke at the BBYO event. That's true. I thought it was fun. I don't know. I didn't know what I was doing. But accepting that this thing that you've always believed could be a distortion of the truth. I would say a very, very dramatic distortion of the truth. It's so scary that they want to double down, triple down, quadruple down. And then suddenly you're someone like somebody who is a member of my family not far away from me on the family tree, who has, our family is surrounded by blue no matter who people. And he voted for Trump because Israel.
Yeah. No, it's there's an impasse that you arrive at where you're like, either I have to recontextualize my relationship with this like foreign state that I've been told is like incredibly important to my identity and my development and who I am as a person, and maybe realize that like I've been fed a healthy dose of propaganda my whole life, or you're like, no, everyone else is wrong and I'm just going to lean heavily into it because I'm too fearful of the repercussions and too fearful of the social isolation that comes along with it as well from immediate family members. And I think that's what that's a lot of people go down the right-wing rabbit hole rather than reanalyze that relationship. And because going through the process of like going like undermining a decades of indoctrination is very difficult. So I think it's like that's part of the reason why a lot of people just go, not that everyone else is wrong and I must be right wing.
When I started learning about what was happening, I had this sort of dumb Joe Rogan, like, wow, really? And then suddenly you start to read and read and read. You learn who Theodore Herzl was. You learn about all those different propositions for different places for us to go. You know, Herzl saying that we should go somewhere in Africa and everything, and you learn more. And it's a very scary thing. And that's why I am very tame and calm and sympathetic with a lot of people who are still bought into this propaganda, is as somebody who grew up being fed this from a very young age, it's terrifying to accept. And I think that the more and more people say, why did it take you this long? The less inclined certain people are going to be to talk about it. I think that meeting somebody speaking out about this now with, why are you doing this far into it? I understand that feeling, and I understand why you would think that, and understand I'm getting a note off. That's too bad. I think meeting them with, why did it take you this long, discourages other people from speaking out. And when somebody speaks out, you should encourage more people to speak out.
Yeah. Well, just wait. I'll talk back. We'll revisit this conversation a couple years down the line when you'll have a Noah Culwin approach.
I don't know who's Noah Culwin.
Who's the guy who just met, who was actually with Simone, who did the Israelism documentary. They were, I think, at Berkeley together. But yeah, he used to be like a J Street liberal Zionist, and then like became a anti-Zionist later down. But it takes time, and I know that, and I understand that, which is why I try to tell people to be, calm in this situation. Even though I also understand why people will be like, no, I'm not waiting for someone to come to this conclusion when like children are being slaughtered. You know what I mean?
Totally. Well, no,
I get that side of it as well. I'm just saying that as someone who, I don't know, grew up in Turkey, as someone who is now living in America, I have a lot more charity because we do have the bandwidth to be more charitable, and that could be a more effective approach in general.
I'm just afraid because I think when certain people, I don't want to baby people, and that's an important thing to mention. Also, I was babying so many people who were freaking out about Zoran winning, and it got to the point where I was like, honestly, grow up. Like, welcome to the adult world.
Yeah, Islam is here, baby. We're doing Sharia. Let's go. That's what I say. And people take it seriously. They got so mad at me for saying that.
That Sharia was here?
Yeah, I was like, the ADL did a whole Twitter thing of like everyone that was talking about how it's like Sharia law now. Oh
my God.
Like people making fun of the people who were like being incredibly racist. Because that's the other thing. Like, I think people like a big pillar of this whole like, you're scaring me, unironically stems from people's like genuine racism towards Muslims, where they're like Zohran Mamdani winning the New York primary means that it's like, it's Sharia time in New York. And
it goes so deep that people,
yeah, they did this whole thread where they were like, they were posting about like Mohammed El-Kurt saying consider the Intifada globalized. Israel to 9/11. America's waking up. That's why Sohram Mamdani won. Like there's some that are like definitely spicy or anti-Semitic in there because you have to put that in there. Otherwise, it just looks completely ridiculous. But then it's something like this. It's something like this, like the guy who's the executive director of CARE. Okay. Undoubtedly, this is a victory for Palestine. It reflects the toxicity of Americans from Zionist propaganda and the corrupt Democrat Party leaders. His candidacy has motivated American Muslims increase their civic engagement and pride in various communities. His influence went beyond the New York City borders and garnered widespread resonance across the country. Despite threats, ridicule, and blatant Islamophobic attacks from his opponents and some extremists, he and the community endured with all his might. We pray for tightening security measures to ensure his safety and his family. The ADL posting this as like a sinister anti-Semitic message is so insane.
I really don't even I don't even get it, honestly. It's
no,
so
I get it. It's racism.
Well,
it's like saying, have you seen that r/Israel post of the guy being like, I have PTSD. I'm a Jew living in Europe. I have PTSD because of October 7. And I go to the hospital and I tell them this. And then the nurse that they gave me was a woman with a headscarf. Are they delusional? Like that was the post. And it's like, dude, you're just racist. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're, or this is really funny too. That's not here. No, this is not the post. I don't even know how to phrase this without sounding stupid, but it feels like the Palestinian world is really, really good at bullshit and getting the world to believe they're bullshit. Yet Mossad can manage to intercept pagers and plant explosives and put a drone based inside Iran. Like it's an intelligence agency, obviously, but they are also fundamental in some pretty impressive surprise attacks. Meanwhile, every idiot in the world is flying a Palestinian flag next to the rainbow flag. I live in Europe. I'm terrified to tell anyone about my connection to Judaism or Israel or anything else. I went to the hospital because I've been dealing with PTSD from October 7. And after I said this to the intake nurse, they gave me a headscarf wearing doctor, which at this point I feel is either ignorant or on purpose.
I think those are the same types of people who would say like, oh, Islam wouldn't, no woman who practices that would be allowed to be a nurse. Like, yeah. That's the people who say that type of shit. And it's just so crazy to me, especially because like I've been on the receiving end of so much anti-Semitism. Think about it like this. Forget the fact that I am Jewish. I'm a Jewish person who went on national news and told America that I was coming for your guns. And my father and my late grandfather were adoption lawyers. So anti-Semitic conspiracy theorists had a party with me. Like, Jew, coming for your guns, father and grandfather, boom, human trafficking. I was their dream boy. Oh my God. And I have gotten so much anti-Semitism. I've also been around so many Muslims, and people don't seem to believe me when I say that about 99.9% of the anti-Semitism that I've gotten has come from blonde, white Americans.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just organizations like the ADL, they don't care about anti-Semitism on the right. Like after they, were making excuses for Elon, and then he went on to continue making Hitler jokes, they finally said something. But like, generally speaking, these organizations, I think that they, first of all, are inherently right-wing, but also don't want to piss off Daddy Trump. And it benefits them to characterize anti-Semitism as a feature of the left because some Democrats, a handful of Democrats, are the least bit critical of the state of Israel. And then you see people who see Chuck Schumer saying that Netanyahu should hold democratic elections after the war in quote unquote the only democracy in the Middle East. And you see like Zionist influencers calling Chuck Schumer a Jew hater. Chuck Schumer is a Jew hater. You have to be either delusional or just deliberately trying to put people to think that Charles Schumer hates Jews.
I think if you think that Chuck Schumer is, well, it's not even like hate Jews, which is like the most ridiculous position, but like if you think Chuck Schumer is not sufficiently pro-Israel, you're living on a separate planet. You know what I mean? Like he has literally done a book tour about how his job, he's openly stated that his job is to make the left love Israel, which has been a spectacular failure, just like everything else Chuck Schumer does. But like, it's crazy that people are like, nope, that guy, Chuck Schumer, is not sufficiently pro-Israel. And on the other hand, Donald Trump is the number one advocate for Jewish people because he loves Israel. He gives Israel everything it wants. So
And
it's all done on the basis of like how much you're willing to defend Israel.
one thing that I don't hear a lot of people talking about, and I can't say I'm entirely sure why. I think it's just something that if you say it the wrong way, it could very easily be misconstrued. But I don't hear a lot of people talking about how the next 100 years of anti-Semitic attacks are going to be directly citing the past 2 years of the state of Israel's military. Because when I think a lot about mass shooters, manifestos,
The Trump administration.
and, people who commit violence like that, because I have spent so much time doing gun control stuff. And I cannot imagine how anybody could see the past multiple years of the IDF and think that this isn't going to be the jet fuel for the next centuries of anti-Semitism.
Oh yeah. No, I think I have been warning about this nonstop. I've been warning about this nonstop, especially when like every time Israel does stuff like this, there is that association of Israel and Judaism that ends up causing enmity towards Jewish people in the United States of America, for sure. And at a time like that, you need an organization that's supposed to be tasked with like actually combating anti-Semitism to be very careful and very deliberate and very precise with its language that says like Israel is not, like that organization is supposed to work to sever ties with Israel, not be an organization that is saying, no, you don't understand. Israel has to do these things because of Jews, which is why I think like organizations like the ADL play a formative role in increasing, by the way, make sure you don't show your phone on camera.
Oh, shit.
Increasing anti-Semitism in the country because of the same thing that we talked about, which is like dual loyalty tropes on the white nationalist front, all the way to woke dual loyalty on like the liberal Zionist side, where it's like, no, you don't understand. This is for Jews.
We're doing it for Jews. Okay, well, as part of Jews, I would like to ask that you stop, because it doesn't. It's not a good idea, and it's not for Jews. It really isn't. And I think that a lot of very pro-Israel Jewish people hate Jewish people who are sympathetic towards Palestine more than they will ever hate your average anti-Semite.
Yeah. Eve Barlow, my favorite, Eve Fartlow. Are you familiar with her?
I know from Eve Fartlow's how I know her from.
Eve Fartlow says, people with the soul are shocked beyond words that mainstream media is manipulating and exploiting photographs of children with congenital diseases to push a lie that Israel, i.e. the Jewish nation, see, again, the Jewish nation.
I'm sorry, not to be that guy. Why did she capitalize the?
Yeah.
And not nation?
Nation. I don't know. Because she's stupid. She's a bad writer. Is intentionally starving Gaza. People without a soul are repeating the lies like the Nazis and every anti-Semitic regime known to man before them.
Yeah, those are the people who are doing the stuff that the Nazis did right now.
Yeah.
It's those guys.
It's the people that see starving babies and go, this is really bad. We have to stop this immediately.
There were so many Nazis who were like, we need to make sure the children get fed. Yeah, and again, it's like people like Eve are so upset because the world is done with it. Like the enablers, most of the media that enabled this.
People are very mad at me for not doing the accent that I normally do.
Is there an Eve accent?
Oh, there is. Eve Fartlow. People with a soul are shocked beyond words that mainstream media is manipulating and exploiting photographs of children with congenital diseases to push a lie that Israel. That's what she sounds like.
That's Ygritte from Game of Thrones.
No, that's literally what she sounds like, though. She's Scottish.
Okay, got it.
I kind of believe it. I'm sorry, I had to do it.
You know nothing, Jon Snow. Yeah, again, and just like the Eves of the world are gonna be increasingly more upset just because, I mean, Barack Obama tweeted something about it. He, of course, said that the key to ending this all is releasing the hostages, which is what you could expect from a politician like Barack Obama at this point. But he's tweeting about it.
I thought he would have been I thought he was the #1 Jew hater. Why is he still doing the Kamala Harris line? That's
I don't.
I thought that's what he was. He was supposed to be like, no, it's over. It's called Palestine now, and that all of the Jewish people are going to be forcibly deported from the land.
Someone said Cameron's too young, Unc. I don't know what that's a reference to, but I was about to say that, dude. I was 7 for the first Obama election.
Barack Obama did the JCPOA, so the Iran denuclearization agreement. So Israel hated that, and then they never stopped saying he was the #1 Jew hater. Also because he was homies with Edward Said and Rashid Khalidi in the beginning, which he then very quickly dropped, just like Jeremiah Wright. Anyway, but that's Obama's legacy. But yeah, Benjamin Netanyahu came to America, very famously gave a speech in front of Congress, like a bipartisan speech in front of Congress. Chuck Schumer came out and criticized Obama. Oh. That was a whole ordeal.
Yeah, that was back when I was like, oh my God, mom and dad are asleep. I can watch Family Guy now.
What is BBYO?
Oh, thank God. Sorry, I thought they were going to play my BBYO speech.
What is BBYO?
It's it's a young kids Jewish organization. I spoke at it in 2019, and not that this matters, but I've killed it. And I guess this is Eve's speech.
From 2022.
You may know me as a defender of the Jewish people on Twitter, perhaps on Instagram.
Is this the trailer for Brave?
I love her so much. Her and like there's a lot of like famous Hasbarists, I think, that unironically are so annoying that they literally breed anti-Zionists, like Rabbi Shmuley.
I don't even know who that is.
You don't know Rabbi Shmuley Buteya?
Sounds like a hypothetical thing that like an anti-Semite would say.
No.
Like, oh, you heard that from your Rabbi Shmuley.
Okay, well, if you see him if you hear him, you're gonna be like, this is an anti-Semitic cartoon that was created.
Is he doing is he one of the rabbis who insists on doing tefillin to everybody?
No.
Okay, because I'm so sick of tefillin. I have so many goddamn tefillins in my house.
No,
it's God. I'm sorry. What the fuck?
Is God an anti-Semite? I have no idea what God is up to with the global resurgence of anti-Semitism. Okay,
but we're the chosen people.
Rabbi Shmuley owns a sex shop. His daughter, he sells kosher sex toys.
And he's real for that.
And I don't have like an issue with that at all. I just think it's really funny because like, he's a psycho. He is a complete...
400 women shot in the genitals, their breasts cut off as terrorists played with their bloody breasts like a football. Glory, hallelujah.
That's like if we had Jewish versions of mega churches, that's the mega church, like Righteous Gemstones guy.
He's
of our
so
faith.
Insane. He is just like, he is just such a psycho.
I'm so sorry if the guy on the left is like a nice guy and I'm being...
You don't know who Norm Finkelstein is?
I don't know Norm Finkelstein.
God, you need to do a lot more reading.
He looks like TRT Jeff Epstein.
Okay, that's crazy. Norm Finkelstein is the GOAT. He is the OG. He is the most stubborn man in America. And, you know, some of his opinions are maybe a little out there every now and then, but he has been like hailed as like the #1 chronicler of the plight of the Palestinians. He has numerous books. Probably the most vindicated man in America. He has been #1 op for Alan Dershowitz. And
speaking of Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, the #1 ally of Alan Dershowitz, Jeffrey Epstein. Exactly. Norm is great. I mean, he's fantastic. He is an incredibly stubborn guy who has a very strong moral compass and has been an avowed supporter of Palestinian emancipation for decades. He's been punished endlessly for it, but he's also very stubborn in the sense that like if he gets his mindset on something, it's very hard to shake him out of it. And the example I used to always use is like I have so much respect for him. But he just like had it in his mind that like BDS was bad. Like this was a long time ago. I don't think he doesn't believe that anymore. But like there was a point in time where he thought like BDS was unrealistic in its goals because he thought that it would either lead to anti-Semitism or it would what was it? What did he say? I think he said that the goal of BDS was like too far-fetched, boycott, divestments, and sanctions. And despite the fact that he was like the premier anti-Zionist Jewish academic, and knowing that this would like basically destroy his reputation in the pro-Palestinian movement, he just kept pushing it no matter what. And I think it shows that he's like a very honest person and not a grifter at all, even if it like even if it ends up pushing his remaining allies away. Basically, why are you telling him Norm's Elsewhere's? No, I think it means something that a guy like this, who has been blackballed from every academic institution because he correctly called Alan Dershowitz the task, where he basically destroyed Alan Dershowitz for plagiarizing a work that he had put out there from another person that actually had presented false information about the history of Israel. And Alan Dershowitz literally got him blacklisted from every academic institution.
Did you see his video, Dershowitz's video recently about the age of consent?
Oh, of course. I mean, he's written extensively on that.
Yeah, what a hill to die on. I mean, you know, the Epstein stuff, that contextualizes it a little bit, but that's sort of a Streisand effect, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think he just doesn't, I think he doesn't care. I think he's just like, he's an advocate for making sure that they lower the age of consent so he doesn't go to prison, I think. Oh, this is from, I think this is him talking about, one of his books is called, I think it's called Holocaust Inc., like Holocaust Incorporated. He also is like bold, and if you're uninitiated with his like commentary, you might immediately go, whoa, okay, that's a little crazy. But he talks about like the utilization of the Holocaust. His parents were, I think, in the Warsaw Ghetto. The Holocaust industry, not Holocaust Inc. I keep getting their name wrong. And he talks about like the ways in which like Holocaust plays a formative role in the inception of the Israeli state and how dangerous that is.
That the Nazi Holocaust has now become the main ideological weapon for launching wars of aggression. Every time you want to launch a war of aggression, drag in the Nazi Holocaust. It's the suffering then used as another pretext.
He also doesn't have a smartphone to this day.
So yeah, that's stubborn. He sounds like every one of my cousins.
He has a landline. He only has a landline. Yeah, I love him. I love Norm so much.
Or excuse to humiliate, degrade, and torture the Palestinians. That's the problem. The suffering comes as a package. It then comes, here is the suffering, now we blow up your house. Here is the suffering, now we take your land. Here is the suffering, now we drop artillery shell or shoot artillery shells at your villages. It's a package deal with Israel and its American supporters. It's not just suffering, it's suffering which is then wrapped in a club. And the club is then used to break the skulls of the Palestinians. That's the problem. It's not being used to educate people. It's not being used to enlighten people. It's not being used to make people more moral.
It can be.
But it's not.
I mean,
it's not. That's the whole point. Of course it can be, but it isn't. It's the best thing that will ever happen to Israel if they get rid of these American Jews who are warmongers from Martha's Vineyard. And they're warmongers from...
This is the funniest cope. I love Sam Cedar. He does a different version of this where Sam will say, it's the Russians that came after the USSR that made Israel so violent. It's like, I don't think... I mean, he's not wrong. I think Norm is correct that it isn't like Jews in general, but it is like America's foreign policy. But there's going to be something there that is just like not.
And they're warmongers from Beverly Hills. And they're warmongers from Miami. It's been a disaster for Israel. You know, it's the best thing if they can ever get rid of this American Jewry. It's a curse.
I don't agree with that last part of what he's saying, but yeah, I'm surprised you've never heard of Norm Finkelstein.
The Jewish guilt inner monologue in my head sounds exactly like him, has his exact inflection.
Yeah, he's the man.
Like my brother right here had to have been on at least 7 episodes of Curb. But yeah, that seems like a stubborn man who.
Oh, he
had
is.
his principle. Is he so? Does he still do stuff? Is he
Oh
still,
yeah, he's old. He's very old at this point, and he's still kicking. He's crazy. He hasn't like if you've been like involved in pro-Palestinian advocacy in the past like decade or so, you know who Norm Finkelstein is. Every Palestinian knows who Norm Finkelstein is, like 100% around the entire planet. Because he's been such a massive advocate, and has, like I said, one of the best chroniclers of the plight of Palestinians in general. Like he has an insanely stubborn work ethic where he will like document each individual atrocity that has taken place for the past multiple decades at this point. And he has also been like the most vindicated man since 7, where he wrote something that was a little crazy for sure, but he doesn't have internet. So, you know, it is what it is. But in the aftermath of October, like while October 7 was happening, he wrote something like comparing it to the Nat Turner rebellion, which is a fair assessment, I think. But he was maybe a little bit, anyway, it doesn't matter.
It's just when you say stuff like that, I think a lot of people whose minds can be changed just immediately shut off.
Oh no, people who are pro Israel in any capacity, they hate him, and they've hated him. But I think you're in your evolution. You're in a much more accepting place in your evolution that Norm Finkelstein. You will like Norm Finkelstein.
Hi. During your speech, you made a lot of references to Jewish people as well as certain people in your audience, not Jewish people.
This person is not Jewish, by the way. This is from 2011, but I think she's of German descent.
People in general, but certain people, especially in your audience, Nazis. Now, that is extremely offensive when certain people are German. And they're also extremely offensive to people who've actually suffered under Nazi rule.
I don't respect them.
She's German.
Wait, are there Germans who hear people get called Nazis and are like offended by it?
I don't think. Have you never encountered Germans in the wild?
No.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? No. Germans are the #1 dick riders of Israel, like across the board.
I knew that. I knew about
and they get
Germany.
So mad whenever I say like this is Nazi shit. I can always, because I have an international audience, I can always count on a German like social democrat or whatever to come in my chat and chirp at me about how like you are not being very careful with the words, with the precise language, like with the precise language that you should be using. I'm very disappointed in you. I'm normally a big fan.
There's also just like a straight up Nazi party happening there, isn't there?
Yeah, they hate those guys. They hate the AfD. The German liberal is a very interesting phenomena. The German liberal is like unlimited support to Israel. Israel has never done anything wrong. Deeply ashamed of the Holocaust. Hates the AfD, but also simultaneously will do like, you know, the exact same, like will have an affinity towards like Nazi style politics when it comes to not Jews, but Muslims. And,
right.
And it is extreme.
Is the AfD one of the far right groups that Netanyahu plays nice with, or are those other guys?
They play. Yeah, they they did an anti-Semitism conference in Israel recently that had to shut it down because they invited too many Nazis to the anti-Semitism conference in Israel. They had like, I think they had the AfD guys and they had the National Front French guys in. That they sent into Israel, and everyone was like, "What are we doing?" Like there were people in Israel that were like, "Come on, dude, this is too much."
And there you have it with sort of the anti-Semitism only exists on the left, giant operation around the world to suggest that it's just like a far left progressive Democrat thing. You say to them like, "Oh, if you want to invoke the Holocaust, if you want to talk about the Holocaust as some sort of justification for this." Where did the Holocaust start? On the far right in Europe. What's Netanyahu's stance on the far right in Europe? And it's he's broing out with them harder than he is with the Nelk boys.
Netanyahu's also, I don't know if you know this. This is Netanyahu's a Holocaust revisionist.
In what sense?
Let me show you. Benjamin Netanyahu hates Palestinians so much and hates Arabs so much that he once famously had a very big gaffe that was criticized by Israeli society as well, where he said that Adolf Hitler, verbatim, Adolf Hitler did not want to kill the Jews. He learned that he should kill the Jews by talking to the Palestinian mufti. Adolf Hitler simply wanted to transfer the Jews somewhere else.
I do remember this.
But then the Palestinian mufti told Adolf Hitler, convinced Adolf Hitler that he should kill the Jews instead.
I do remember seeing that. And it's one of those things that you kind of think is an Onion article. And I don't want to like do the, overdone, oh my God, it's just like an Onion article thing. But there was an Onion article that was like, Netanyahu under fire for his endorsement of the Aryan white supremacy party.
Yeah.
And I was like, this just is that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's honest in a way, but like, I think Benjamin Netanyahu understands that he is a fascist. And so of course he's going to be like, yeah, no, it's great. Like, I love fascism no matter what kind of fascism exists in other places, even anti-Semitic fascism, because it works in favor of a Zionist goal regardless. Because if Jews feel unsafe in America, is another thing that I say all the time, is like, the greatest threat to Israel's existence is not Palestinians. The greatest threat to Israel's existence is Bel Air, Beverly Hills, Sherman Oaks, Florida, the state of Florida, New York. Because if people were to be like, why the fuck am I living here in Israel when I can just like live in, America or any other place, then all of a sudden you don't have enough people to populate Israel.
Someone said Boca. That's where I'm from.
Yeah, Boca Raton is,
I was about
to, I didn't want to directly say Boca Raton, but yes.
Boca is where I went to Temple B'nai Israel. And every time we had a Purim spiel, which is a play that you put on to tell the story of Purim, I got cast as the bad guy, Haman. And I killed it every time. But anyway, yeah, I think that one time a family member of mine said to me about Israel, they said, do you want to go? And I was like, not really. And they were like, why? And I said, well, October 7th happened 6 weeks ago, and I don't care about Israel, to be honest. And I don't think anybody should be getting murdered, but I don't really care about going, and it's not really interesting to me. And the family member said, aren't you glad there's a place where it's safe to be Jewish? And I was like, October 7th just happened, and I'm supposed to be like, this is where I'm going to go to be safe.
No,
like,
you don't understand.
I live in a city where a bunch of teenagers break a window at a school library and the NYPD gets sent to them up.
No, you don't. That's the scariest place to be as a Jew. Upper East Side, New York. You don't understand. You've just been fed propaganda, and you don't realize that Manhattan is no longer safe for Jews.
Right. I forgot about that. Manhattan
so
is
funny.
getting jihaded. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, but like the people who say that don't believe it. Like the people who say that and still live in Manhattan, like obviously don't believe it. Or people were talking about how like, oh, we're gonna flee New York if Zoran becomes mayor. Like you're not gonna flee New York because it's not an
somebody
unsafe
asked me
place.
if I would have been in one of the encampments, and I said, no, I wouldn't have. I have terrible anxiety for which I need, and I would probably kill an elephant. And I think that I would probably be having panic attacks the entire time. And they said, oh, right, because of the anti-Semites over there. And I was like, no, because of the NYPD. Like, I wouldn't want to get up by the NYPD.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the greatest threat to Jewish students on campus. But of course, that's directed by Bill Ackman and Eric Adams. So that's somehow to save the Jewish students on college campus.
Since we were talking about people like Fuentes and Candace Owens who hijack Palestinian suffering to spread Jew hate, just a quick story I heard from some friends. I believe it was UChicago, but I don't remember. There was a couple that met at an encampment, and the young man was sort of a leader in the encampment. He was one of the people who was stepping up to a leadership position. And he met the girlfriend at the encampment doing pro-Palestinian advocacy. And then later that semester, he got academically suspended for poor academic performance.
Mm-hmm.
And later, the girl learned that he wrote a letter to the school saying his poor academic performance was due to a mental health issue he faced because of the anti-Semitism on campus. And he
was a counter protester?
No, he was protesting with the people protesting for the Palestinian cause.
Okay.
And then
did it work? It worked.
I believe it worked. I think that's how it went. I'd need to check. But I know for a fact that he wrote it. Does Cam know about the cheese lady?
Oh my God. The cheese lady.
Sounds like a fable for kids.
The New York Post is probably one of the more like overt pro-Israel publications out there that isn't like, I don't know, directly, like it's not like Jewish Insider. It's supposed to be like talking about a bunch of other issues as well related to New York, but it's like super pro-Israel, right?
Sure.
So they wanted to talk about the dangers of anti-Semitism and what kind of horrible impact that exploding anti-Semitism has had on college campuses. So they wanted to write this positive profile that shed light on the dangers of anti-Semitism exploding. I give to you the greatest article of all time. The Gouda, bad and ugly. New York City law student addicted to cheese went to nearly $6,000 per week rehab.
So wait, where's the Palestinian protest part of this?
A Manhattan law school student was so hooked on cheese she had to go to rehab to end her insatiable appetite for dairy, told the Post. Adela Kohab said her camembert cravings began during her junior year at NYU. In spring 2018, she binged almost daily on the cheapest bricks of white cheddar and Parmesan she could find. There's a photo shoot associated with this that makes it so much funnier.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I stopped by either Morton Williams or Whole Foods, and I would just buy cheese, and I would literally just eat a block of cheese with my hands, say Kojab 27, often while sitting on the floor in her Midtown apartment alone in the dark. It was the only thing that would make me feel somewhat whole. A feta fiend said she devoured an estimated 5.5 blocks of cheese per week, along with savory Parmesan crisps she stocked in her pantry. Her pitiful attempts at a salad, she said, amounts to eating Parmesan with Caesar with lettuce on the side. I kept telling myself it's actually cheaper to buy some blocks of cheese than to get a $12 salad at Fresh & Co. I was telling myself I was making an economic decision as people with addictions rationalize. Anyway, the rest of it is like Dr. Neil Bernard talks about cheese addiction and how it's nothing to joke about. Anyway, the dairy diet quickly wrecked Kojab's health. Her weight skyrocketed. She also stopped menstruating for 5 months during the throes of her cheese feast and became at risk for type 2 diabetes. My mom said, "You're not well. You're not okay. You need to go away for a while," she said on the family intervention that saved her. Wellness retreat at Hilton Health in South Carolina, which costs a minimum of $5,820 a week, helped the Asiago addict gain control over her eating disorder. Why am I telling you this? Kojab settled an anti-Semitism lawsuit she brought against NYU in 2019 and is also set to graduate from Cardozo School in Law, said that the anti-Semitism that she experienced is what caused her to relapse on her cheese addiction.
In 28, relapse now?
Look, Kojab said her addiction stemmed from stress. She was the president of a Zionist university group called Realize Israel, at odds with other student activists and professors calling on the university to sever ties with Israel.
So, okay, but this is recent.
No. This was from a while back. And I think they published this recently, but I think that it was like coming back or something. Like her cheese addiction was coming back because of the exploding anti-Semitism, but she won her lawsuit. But the the pro-Palestinian campus protesters made her develop a cheese addiction from the stress.
Yeah, I gotta confess, I don't think I could have thought of that if I was making a hypothetical about people using this to further their interests.
You told me about the guy who said anti-Semitism on college campus made.
No, but that's not a cheese addiction.
Yeah, but it's great.
This is like Monty Python goofy.
I think it's pretty funny because like her addiction caused her to stop menstruating is crazy. Like she was eating so much cheese that it was like breaking her entire life. Oh, also my favorite enemy, Israel's greatest soldier, strongest soldier, Rishi Torres, apparently is no longer the Fedayeen for Israel. It turns out Ron Tarosian, a public relations executive and philanthropist who bundled hundreds of thousands for Torres after October 7. Ron Tarosian is the one who's connected to Beitar, right, chat?
Wait, you said feta. Are we still talking about cheese?
No, I said fedayeen, like as in like a martyr for Israel.
Got
like,
it.
Like who will put his life on the line for Israel.
Got it.
Anyway,
sorry. I didn't know if Richie also had a cheese addiction from all the anti-Semitism that gets sent to Richie Torres.
No. Richie Torres is no longer on Team Israel, it seems. And Beitar is turning on Richie Torres. Sadly, Richie Torres no longer stands with the state of Israel, he said. It's clear that he's very concerned about his future in the Democratic Party. Torres recently returned personal contributions from Torosian and entrepreneur Michael Sinensky following a report about their ties to Trump and the Likud party in Israel. Sadly, it's clear that whether it is changing times or political expediency, his love for the Jewish people is limited to a love of left-wing Jewish government, Torosian said.
So what did Richie? So Richie cut ties with specific far-right donors, and that's what
Richie Torres is the #1 attack dog for Israel in Congress. I don't know if you know this, but he like literally is such a desperate shill.
I've followed Richie for years. I met Richie at a party once.
Yeah, he wrote he used the congressional letterhead to write a letter to Twitch and Amazon to try to get me banned in the lead up to the election. And he was like, he is anti-Semitic. He loves Hamas. He he said like all Jews are inbred or something. Cause I was talking about like some Kahanist terrorists, the aid that was going in. He basically was trying to get me banned literally in the lead up to the general election. Like 5 days before the general election, he tweeted about me more than he tweeted about the election itself.
Well, I mean, if you look at his social media, 2 for every 3 tweets is about Israel.
Yeah.
And it's about, I mean, I can't keep up with which people who do Hasbro want you to get banned. Like I try to keep up with it. It's tough. But Richie has been on this for years. And I think that he might be starting to realize that this is not going to go well for him in his next primary.
No, he's going to get primaried for sure.
Isn't Michael Blake maybe going to do that?
Michael Blake wants to do it. I said it already. I said anyone who will successfully primary Richie Torres, I'm on board. I will come out and door knock for you.
Was Michael Blake the one at the mayoral debate who, when asked who the most effective Democrat was in office, he said himself?
I don't know if he might have said
someone at the mayoral debate was asked who the most effective Democrat in office the past couple of years has been. And I think Zoran and Brad Lander said the mayor of Boston.
Yeah, she was great.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure, unless I'm mistaken, Michael Blake said himself.
I got one of my close friends to watch you. She tuned out after she got duped by Richie Torres. I'm sorry, but one of your closest friends is a bit of a stupid person. Like, no disrespect, but like, if you're getting duped by Richie Torres, that's kind of funny. I mean, what are you going to do?
Well, I mean, he's such a charmer. He's that swagger, that Rizzy Torres. It's hard to beat.
Yeah. But apparently, Richie Torres hasn't tweeted the word Israel or Hamas since June 18th, 14 days ago. That's the longest stretch by 7 days that Torres has not tweeted one of those words since October 7th, 2023. Yeah. Since Zoran's victory, he has been really reconsidering his stances because he wants to stay in office. But yeah, in that process, I guess like he gave back some of the donations that come from Beitar. You know Beitar, right?
No.
You don't know Beitar?
No. Oh yeah, I follow them.
These guys, they're insane.
I follow them.
They're terrorists.
A lot of these orgs kind of blend together for me, but I follow a good amount of them.
Yeah. Beitar is like the crazy one where the woman was like harassing some Zoran Mamdani door knockers and being like, I'm Jewish. I can do anything I want. They're like a anti-Semitic meme.
I mean,
they are the people that give the list of people to deport.
Oh, like the
Department of Homeland Security.
Like is that the group of alumni from those colleges that get together and do it? Like the parents and the family.
That's just like you're talking about like the WhatsApp groups and shit. No, this is like there's Canary Mission, which is a doxing organization that's also literally gets grants from the Israeli Knesset. And Beitar is like an even crazier version of this. Beitar is like the serial harassers led by a guy who was, I I think a guy who was charged with like stalking and revenge porn. Right? That's Ron Tarosian, right, chat? They're so wild that ADL distanced themselves from Beitar. They were like, or no, that wasn't Ron Tarosian. That was Ross Glick. Ross Glick is the stalker. Yeah.
Wait, I don't know who Ross Glick is.
Ross Glick runs Beitar. Here. This is Ross Glick of Beitar. Loses a duel to Brace.
But I have freckles.
You are crazy ugly.
Are you anti?
This is my buddy. Do you know TrueAnon?
Sure, yes.
This is Brace from TrueAnon.
Got it.
He found his video. It was a difficult day. Ross Glick, executive director of Beitar USA, had to be separated from a young blonde woman he refused to stop filming in a park and grew aggressive and strange. His son was with him, humiliated. Beitar is a freak show. And then this is a meeting of the minds.
Come over to me and got in my face.
What is up with the freckles?
But I have freckles.
You are crazy ugly.
Are you anti-freckle?
I don't know that, but
Are
you
you a
got
racist?
overdid
Are you
it.
a freckle racist?
I don't know what.
What are you?
Possibly
What
are you?
What are you?
I look normal.
Are
you
you
look
who?
crazy.
People have been lying to you, son.
Son.
People
well,
been
you
lying
are
to
probably old enough.
I am older than you.
You're
Yes.
one of the ugliest people
I
I've
have
ever seen in my life.
seen-
So are you. Thank you.
No, I'm not.
1,000 guys who look exactly like Ross Glick on Grindr. Those guys had much.
Truth isn't just spoken, it's defended. I stand at the crossroads of strategy and advocacy, challenging misinformation, building brands with purpose, and fighting for what matters. Where is the legal stuff, chat? It's on this website, right?
Not a great picture, by the way, for that last one.
No. You don't understand. This website has a legal disclaimer.
Hashtag football coach, hashtag startups, hashtag art, hashtag adventure.
Where's the legal statement, chat? Wait, did he take it off? Did he delete the legal statement? No.
What is the legal statement?
Oh, you have to see it. I need to explain it to you.
Does he elaborate on hashtag adventure?
Public statements and legal notice. Oh, public notice and legal warning. Upon information and belief, false and defamatory statements against Ross Glick have been posted online in various sources such as the New York Post and Palestinian News Network. It must be stated unequivocally that Ross Glick is not a sex criminal. He has never been convicted of a crime, and any statements to the opposite are legally actionable and will not be tolerated. To be clear, Ross Glick has never been convicted of any crime, let alone a sex crime. Any claims to the contrary are outright falsehoods and constitute defamation, which include libel and slander. Furthermore, Mr. Glick's co-parent, referenced in the erroneous New York Post article, is the mother of his third child. Unfortunately, they both admit they were in a toxic relationship. Although it was a long-term relationship that unfortunately became contentious at times, Mr. Glick's co-parent acknowledges that she is not the victim of any crime. In fact, they have since reconciled and are peacefully co-parenting their child together. Not only was the New York Post article a sensationalized hit piece and deceptive narrative, but it is blatantly false without proper fact-checking by the journalist. This article's author is not a reputable journalist and did not conduct any independent investigation into the facts. The journalist never reached out to the Manhattan District Attorney's Office for verification, nor did she attempt to contact Glick's attorney for a statement. This lack of due diligence is not journalism. It's reckless, agenda-driven defamation targeting a successful Jewish businessman. Any revenge porn charges were immediately dismissed at Glick's arraignment. In fact, all criminal charges were dismissed. The only remaining charge that Mr. Glick faced was the non-criminal violation of harassment in the second degree.
It's like when you talk about Michael Rappaport and people are like, no, he didn't do anything that bad. He just kind of stalked and harassed somebody. What the is that? What lawyer?
Dude,
what lawyer
so
in the
good.
entire world?
And then he goes on to describe harassment in the second degree in New York as a violation that involves intentionally harassing, annoying, or alarming another person. It is a violation, not a crime, and the maximum penalty is 15 days in jail and a $250 fine. This is the legal equivalent to a parking ticket. Moreover, this resolution was agreed upon by all parties, including Mr. Glick's co-parent. This statement serves an official and final legal warning to all individual social media users. They put this up so that you can't say he's like a sex criminal or something. So he'll sue you. He's very litigious.
Okay, anybody watching this, any fans of other internet people?
This was the New York Post article.
Any fans of Hasan's haters and ops and everything, we did not say anything.
Yeah.
We just read a legal statement
Yes.
in defense of, I already forgot his name, the grinder guy.
Ross Glick.
Ross Glick.
Yeah, it's so funny. Anyway, but these guys, Ross Glick and like Ron Tarosian are buddies. Ron Tarosian is a separate guy. And they are now upset about Richie Torres because Richie Torres has given back the funds that he got from Ron Tarosian, who is, of course, also a psychopathic right-wing neo-Nazi for Israel. So that's where it is. You know, people are escaping the at least like most right-wing versions of Israel defense here.
It's and the people who are still defending are standing back and standing by. Like it is getting really aggro. One of my pro-Israel Hasbara influencers who I follow is a gender non-conforming individual. I'm not sure to what degree, because this individual's pronouns in this individual's bio are pronouns. Let/them/go.
Wait, are they actually gender non-conforming, or are they like someone said Maya Poet? No, no, Maya Poet is a detransitioner.
I genuinely don't want to mention.
Wait, do you know who Maya Poet is?
No, I don't.
Oh, Maya Poet became a detransitioner grifter after October 7.
Because
there is yes, there is a version. Look, some of the greatest minds. Okay, some of the greatest minds are working on very unique ways of defending Israel in the Western world. Okay, Maya Poet is perhaps one of the most insane versions of this. They were like some people say they were never like fully invested in transitioning at all, and that it was a grift from the start. I don't know if that's the case or not. I think that they were just like genuinely crazy from the start, but. Here's another New York Post article.
Everyone in chat feels bad for me that I'm learning about all this shit.
October 7th made me realize being trans is a luxury belief, so I'm detransitioning. Maya, an American, was living as a transgender man in Israel on October 7th, 2023. But when sirens sent her running to a bomb shelter on the day of Hamas's brutal attack, she realized the gender ideology she held so dear was a frivolous belief in an active war zone. I became significantly less concerned about all this gender crap, Maya 25 told the Post. I realized that there were more important things in life than my gender dysphoria because I had to just save myself. And there's a tweet about it too. I forget where the tweet is, but it's crazy. Where it's like, oh, I didn't put my breast binder on. And that's when I realized like this trans shit. No more of this gay stuff.
So it's like reverse pink washing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's like exactly. It's like anti-woke washing.
And
yeah.
Has there been a speech at like Student Action Summit yet?
I'm sure that I think that when I was trans, I didn't wear sandals because I knew the size of my feet would give me away. Today I bought my first pair of sandals as an adult. Leaving trans behind is liberating.
So it's also like it's not just anti-trans because of the message. It is also that the message itself is anti-trans.
Yeah. Here's one of her posts. Tomorrow marks my 1-year anniversary of not wearing a breast binder. On October 7th, I awoke to a siren. I didn't have enough time to squeeze myself into the barbaric breast squashing device I had used to pass as a man. I had only enough time to run to a bomb shelter.
That's not worded correctly. If you're gonna do shit like this, like use 6th grade level sentence structure. I had only enough. Sorry. This is there should be like a whack pack of the really, really unique influencers for this type of thing. Because I follow some very, very fascinating individuals. There's some who are just like kind of, from my estimation, just sort of cold, hard grifters like Noah Tishby, where I think that is just straight up grifting, no psychological nuance to it and everything. But then there's other people where I think that there is a serious mental health issue folded into it. And there you have some of the people who are closer, I think, to like religious zealotry and nationalism than they are to just grifting. I do think some of these people who do grifty shit, some of them are actually convinced that it's good. And then there's someone like Noah Tishby, who I think is just straight up cold-hearted grifting. Oh, is this another Maya post?
That's like the OG. On October 7th, I woke to a siren. I didn't have enough time.
Maya's
to
mom is the founder of an anti-trans organization.
Yeah,
somebody
yeah.
says.
Yeah, no, she is. Yeah. This is, I mean, I think there's like really fascinating, like Noah Tishby is like boring. You know what I mean? Like even Michael Rappaport, I find kind of boring because like he just is, I mean, I guess Michael Rappaport is like kind of funny because he just like owns himself all the time. But like these guys are the real crazies. And I love that shit. Like this is a type of person who is just like such a psycho. And, but the reason why I think she was like a real one and was like insane from the jump is because like she's like hung out with like Norm Finkelstein.
Oh my God. I can't participate in any content about those poor Harry Potter kids. God help those poor kids in the next couple of years. Everybody, J.K. Rowling is not those poor kids who just got cast in Harry Potter. Take it out on J.K. Rowling. Don't take it out on those children. They're about to go through hell.
Oh my God. That's crazy. He does look like Maya Poet a little bit. Oh man. Yeah, I got some deep cuts for you. What is this? APAC has been doing some of their own because Randy Fine is too feral to represent them. Wait, what? APAC is indeed hiding Randy Fine, their fastest ever endorsement from their website where they list politicians they've supported. Wait, why? Why? Because he's insane? Like, what is it? What is it? Randy Fine was removed from the APAC supported candidates list after his extreme comments weighed down other. Okay, that person's, that's AF Post. This is the Nick Fuentes website making a fat joke. Which, you know, I mean, it's Randy Fine. That's, I guess, the lowest. That's a load bearing part of that identity. But he's insane. You know Randy Fine, right?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw the
He's a sicko.
Yeah, he also knows that it's just gonna get him really good Twitter engagement to say this stuff. That's where I think there's a grift with him too. There's of course the actual bigotry and everything, but I also think he sees it as a path to popularity. Because I think a lot of people who are perpetuating Islamophobia in the government on purpose do it as a clout move. Like they do it.
Yeah, they're doing racism for clout. But he does believe it too, though. Why are you calling Randy Fine fat? He looks beautiful. Stop. I know exactly what photo it is. Okay. It is. I mean, he is so rotund. It's kind of wild. Like he is so perfectly American. What, you guys don't want big boys representing you? It's crazy. I do.
People in my audience, which is again largely over 45 liberals, which is why, you know, I at our publication I talk, you know, I share my real truth about Israel and everything that they're doing over there, and I'm allowed to say it, and they let me say whatever I want, and I think that that's great because this is an audience of people that I don't think always get to hear these types of perspectives on the issue.
Also, isn't everyone else around you Christian?
I don't know. There's a guy named Sam Stein who's Jewish. I don't know if there are any other Jewish people at the organization.
Cam has to do Jewish takia for the bulwark. Yeah, exactly.
Takia, is that a type of food?
No, it's something that racist Islamophobes say Muslims do, which is like Muslims hiding their like actual religious goals so they can invade Western countries and destabilize them.
Gotcha. Well, I gotta say,
it's actually no different than what Nazis said about the Jews.
A lot of media organizations do not give their voices they don't allow them to have any moral clarity on Palestine. And I work with people who were all at one point or another in the Republican Party, and they just let me cook, which I think is one of the reasons independent media is so popular right now, is that you have people actually talking about things that legacy media just will not say. But I was going to say, one of the things my audience cooked me for a while ago was talking about how JB Pritzker is fat. But I was doing that in like a positive way.
Oh, I love how fat JB Pritzker is.
I was saying like, this is so great that we've got this big, jolly, fat guy who's cooking.
Yeah, no, he's a big boy. He's a Husker. I like that. I think it's good. I'm a fan of his size. I think people need to drop that. They need to like curvy men. They need to know that like he represents the average American in much more meaningful ways. Ask him about working for arch neocon Bill Kristol. Oh, wait. That's actually crazy because Bill Kristol's woke now, right?
Bill Kristol went on a 7-minute rant on, I don't know if it was actually 7 minutes, a long rant on the podcast that they do about transphobia and trans rights that was a more effective conversation about how to fight this than what you see from the people who have identified as liberal for 40 years. And Bill Kristol has gone on the record, not a big fan of Zorons, but he's gone on the record saying, I am more anti-Zoran than I am anti-Zoran. And I don't know. For me, it's just like
every now and then I'll read a tweet and I'll be like, wow, who is this guy? He seems like a old Republican guy. And then I'm like, oh my God, it's Bill Kristol. What the f is he saying? Where he'll be like,
he's wokeified now.
He'll demonstrate like moral clarity, shitting on the liberals for being ridiculous about something. And I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, some people do actually get wokeified with time. And I think that there's just so few people who sincerely do that it's kind of hard to look at it and understand what you're even seeing. But Kristol is like a softy, like Tim Walz guy now.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
we were on a podcast together.
He should have gone through the rehabilitation process by going to prison first. But you know, that's my
well. Who among us hasn't teamed up with George Bush once or twice?
Yeah, but you know that's a mistake that I lay squarely on the foot of the Obama administration. People who may or may not have participated in war crimes. Anyway, but we don't have to get into that. We don't have to get you into more trouble by that you already have placed yourself in by.
The Bulwark hasn't made any videos about Gaza. I talk about Gaza every single day on the Bulwark, so I can't speak for anybody else, but that's not true.
It is no longer safe for us to identify as Jewish in New York City. We have to identify ourselves as friends of Brace.
Wait,
yeah.
I have something funny that I want to share while I am still here. I am hiding my phone.
Okay.
I'm not going to name this person because I don't want to start any drama that I'm going to have to deal with at home. I just want to make sure that I get the position right. The chief executive officer of both the Republican Jewish Coalition, an organization dedicated to enhancing ties between the Jewish community and the Republican Party, and the Jewish Policy Center, a think tank that examines public policy from a Jewish perspective. I just learned that not only is he my cousin, we are like not far at all from each other on my family tree.
Wow.
And that's,
you should tell him you went on the podcast or the stream of a terrorist.
I guess I'll have to. But I just my grandma casually brought it up the other day, and I was like, what the? And then I looked into it, and I was like, oh my God, like, there's not a lot of Jewish people in this world. There are very, very, very few of us. So it can't be that surprising when I find out I have relatives. But yeah, that guy and I are pretty closely related.
Yeah, it'll make for a heated Thanksgiving conversation if you guys ever get together in a big family gathering. Runner up for Anti-Semite of the Year, I was number 2. I lost the
Anti-Semite of the Year on what list?
Stop Anti-Semitism.
Who was number 1?
Candace Owens.
Fuentes didn't get it?
No, Candace Owens got it. But to be fair, I mean, she is. It's like it's Stop Anti-Semitism has 2 speeds. Either they just like will find someone who is an anti-Zionist and then claim that they're anti-Semitic, or sometimes they'll find like if there's a big list and there's like people of color on the list, they'll go over the person of color. Sometimes it's Kanye and it's valid. Sometimes it's Candace Owens and it's valid, and then other times it's Ilhan Omar or someone who works at Ben and Jerry's, and it's ridiculous.
Well,
I got second place. I beat Greta Thunberg.
Oh wait, somebody said Mrs. Rachel. Has she made it on yet?
she's been posting about Miss Rachel quite a bit. She's been posting nonstop about Miss Rachel. Miss Rachel is the #1 op of Jewish people, according to Stop Anti-Semitism. I do think stuff like that makes normal people go, ugh.
That's what I was gonna say.
In a way that these guys don't understand. Like, even if, like, obviously I don't agree, and I don't want to, give advice to people that want to do propaganda for the ethno state that is doing a genocide. But, keep up the good work, I guess. But you're coming across as repulsive to normal people.
That's the thing, is like Miss Rachel is the Mr. Rogers of this era.
An angel.
And if I were one of the, I would rather not even direct attention to her at all, because not only is she so extraordinarily consistent and fervent on this, she also does so in such a non-toxic and accessible and human way.
Yeah.
That, and she's had a tremendous impact. There's a lot of people who have, through her advocacy, found the courage to speak out. And I wouldn't want to draw attention to that if I was Stop Anti-Semitism. I would want to just kind of let it exist on, behind the scenes, so we could point to people who are easier to characterize as fringe. How the f do you characterize Ms. Goddamn Rachel as fringe?
Yeah, they keep shitting on her in that video where she sings and dances with a little girl who lost her leg in Gaza too. Like, so it's like so insane. Like, it does not, like, this is what I mean. I feel like a lot of people who are pro-Israel are post October 7, like, super echo chambered, where they just do not entertain anyone that is even remotely calling into question this, like, allegiance, and they immediately cast them aside. And because of that, their propaganda initiatives suffer dramatically, because they just, like, they don't realize, like, to the outsider who didn't, like, get indoctrinated at an early age, or even to many young Jews that have been indoctrinated, but then also saw Israel not with, like, 30 decades of propaganda that is, like, only pro-Israel, but instead their first foray into this was, like, October 7, terrifying, but then immediately after that, what Israel did. So I think that played a big role in a lot of, at least from my experience, like, talking to a lot of young American Jews in my community, they very quickly were like, oh, I didn't even develop enough ties with Israel for me to, like, defend it so vociferously, and therefore I'm out. Like, this is a foreign country. I don't want anything to do with it. I don't like what's going on. And a lot of the people who are older, who are invested in defending Israel, are so far removed from even that perspective that they just don't understand how they come across when they say stuff like, oh no, that starving child that everyone has seen, that child has a genetic disability.
Well, I think that you either want to look for excuses like that, of which, I mean, they're running out, or you want to look away and just kind of have faith that this is all going to work out. I think that's a lot of people who have not changed their position on this, as well as just like, you know what? If I just close my eyes and if I look away, I don't have to ask any questions. I don't have to face any realities that are challenging to me. And this will all work out and this will be fine. And then it'll be down to like 21 bombs a year, and the world will stop putting this pressure on the state of Israel and everything like that. Like, and it's just, I don't know where people think this is going to go.
Yeah, I don't think people understand. Like, Ilan Pape, do you know who that is?
Once again, I do.
Bro, I'm gonna give you at least 10 minutes as reading material on the way out here. Ilan Pape is a very famous Israeli academic. He's one of the new historians. The New Historians is a group of historians, with the exception of Benny Morris, who also played a formative role in uncovering the truth about the inception of the Israeli state. They went back into the archives and they found out that the 1948 war narrative was perhaps a little bit misguided, and that it was actually a planned extermination campaign of ethnic displacement known as the Nakba.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason why we know that is, aside from, firsthand Palestinian testimony, it was the likes of Ilan Pape, Avi Shlaim, and Benny Morris as well. But Benny Morris was out of the three major Israeli historians, two of them became anti-Zionist, and the other one is Benny Morris, who basically looked at that, said historical accuracy is important. It was a planned extermination campaign, but it was good. Whereas Ilan Pappé and Avi Shlaim looked at that and said it was a planned extermination campaign and it was bad. They became anti-Zionist. Benny Morris became a defender of Israel.
But to be clear, Benny Morris, which I thought that was just like an Irish Catholic last name, Benny Morris does recognize that the Nakba was the Nakba. He
Yes.
just was like,
but it's good.
But
his position is it is a planned, yes, it was a planned extermination and expulsion campaign, but it's good because Israel has to exist. And the other two were like, this is up, and that is crazy, and they became anti-Zionist.
okay, well, before I go, let me just say one thing to chat. I love you all. I've been in chat before. I'm one of you people. But let me just say, for everyone cooking me for not knowing a bunch of the references that have been pulled today, let's have it for the record. I didn't need to understand what's going on. All right. It didn't require a lot of academic texts for me to see this and recognize what was happening. So I'm pretty behind.
No, it's good. It's okay.
More for me to learn, but I far into it to see what was going on here. It was actually pretty fucking crystal clear. Didn't require a lot of thinking. So hold that truth in mind. I'm gonna go watch the end of the Brewers game. It was good seeing you, brother.
All right, thank you, Cameron Kasky. I will. I'm gonna give you that book. Hold on before you leave. I have one. I have an extra one. Yeah, but yeah, I'll actually end it on that note, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming on another half day, and I'll see you tomorrow as always. All right.